What's up, guys? This is Space Brawler, and in this video I'm going to be going over the top 5, or at least my personal top 5 favorite BOOLit games, or power level warrior games, but one of them technically isn't a power level warrior game, so I'm not going to count it. And also, Power Level Warrior 0 is both on this list and not on this list. You'll see what I mean when I get to it. And the reason why is because it's an unfinished game, and I am going to talk about it, but you'll see what I mean when I get to it, okay? So, number 5 is Power Level Warrior Tap Trainer. Now, this one I'm putting on number 5 because there's not really any fighting gameplay or anything like that to it. You just tap on the screen, that's it pretty much. You tap as fast as you can. And by the way, I know this doesn't have to do with video necessarily, but I'm recording this with audio, and I'm gonna put gameplay of each one over it. But if I point something out and it's not necessarily like pointed out on video, that's why. But I mean, it's talk about the good things about it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like what I mentioned before when it first came out, like Cookie Clicker or Collector, where you just tap on the screen and you get upgrades and then you get more points and you get a higher score. But that's pretty much it. I mean, the gist of it being Power Level Warrior is there and the formula's there, which is again why I put it on this list. But there's not really any fighting gameplay. And I'm pretty sure if there was another Power Level Warrior game, it wouldn't even be on this list. Because like I said, there's not necessarily any fighting in it. Number 4 is going to have to go to Legends Within. Now, this was actually a tough pick between this one and the number 3 spot, because this game is semi-open world, and that's something I really like about it. And apparently BOOLit is working on a open world game, or semi-open world, I'm not sure yet. But he's working on something similar to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Obviously on a much, much smaller scale, because again, this is one developer we're talking about. But Legends Within has a lot of key opponents. This was actually the first, I'd say, Power Level Warrior-esque game that he made. It has key charging, it has the combat, the combos, all that. It has the key blasts. I think it just has the big one, from what I can remember. It doesn't have the smaller key blast or secondary, or whatever you want to call it. And then it also has 2 playable characters, a male and a female. And I kind of like that diversity that he put into it right off the bat. That's actually really cool because, people like females that are into Dragon Ball, they can play the game too, and they can feel inclusive or included in that. And I think that's really cool. And then what I really liked about this game was some of the characters were bigger than the others. Like each character was like smaller. There were like Krillin-sized people, and there were like normal-sized people. And then there were obviously some giant characters, which I thought was really awesome. And it made the game a little bit more immersive. And I also liked how at the end you can fight your own character. And I just thought that was really cool because their power level mirrors yours. So you could just keep going on forever and ever and beating yourself and improving from there. But that does get obviously boring after a while. Number 3, again, I'd actually say this is a tie. Like, I'd say all 3 of these games are a tie, but some have advantages over others. Okay, number 3 is going to be Power Level Warrior 2. Now, before looking into this and playing Power Level Warrior 1 again, I honestly would have done the opposite of our number 2 and our number 3 spot. But the more I think about it, again, I'm going to talk about it, I don't know. There's just something about Power Level Warrior 1 that's nostalgic, and it just feels better for some reason. But I'm going to explain why Power Level Warrior 2 is still awesome. Power Level Warrior 2 was it was great. It was the first what's it called? I guess side scroller fighting game that BOOLit made where you could switch multiple characters. Obviously, Legends Within started the character switches, but in this one you could like do the arcade style fighting, and you could switch your characters. Not in game, but you can switch it in the menu. And then this one also had a lot of customization, which I thought was really cool. And that was honestly, for me, that was the bread and butter of the game, was the customization. Not the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes of the game. And then obviously the graphics I thought are the best graphics out of all of the games because they're more realistic. However, some people might disagree with that. They might like the cartoon art style, which I still enjoy. I still enjoy the cartoon art style. It makes it feel more like you're playing an anime game, which is what it is. But for me personally, I prefer the realistic art style. I don't know why. I just do. Because BOOLit nailed it really well. Like, BOOLit, hats off to you. Like, or I tip my hat in your favor. Like, that was amazing. Like, how you pulled off the graphics. Because I was not expecting that when I first played the game. This game also has a lot of cool maps. A lot of my favorite maps are in Power Level Warrior 2, such as the remastered Orbit, because I was in Power Level Warrior 1. The Glacier is a really cool map, the icy map. And then there was the Grasslands, which is literally my favorite map from Power Level Warrior 2 because of the way the sun works and all that. It is just so beautiful, and I love this game. However, there are some downsides. And I think this is the first one where I'm going to talk about the downsides to it because everything else I pretty much said positives about. The downside to this game, I have to say, is the combat is kind of clunky, if that makes sense. Like, for example, a lot of the combos when you increase your level and all that, as you go on, your character will, like, essentially, like, zip, like, zoom when they kick or when they punch or something like that. And I don't know, it doesn't feel, like, too realistic. Yes, I know you're playing as, like, super warriors, like, superhuman characters and all that, but it doesn't really like feel too immersive. Like your character just like kind of, they lunge forward really fast, and it's, I don't know, there's something about that. It doesn't feel too good to me. And the main reason why I put this lower than Power Level Warrior 1 is because a lot of the abilities feel, I don't know, they just don't feel right. Like in terms of damage and all that. For example, like if your power level is like 5 million and another warrior has a power of like 20 million, you're going to lose to that other warrior. But in Power Level Warrior 1 and the final Power Level Warrior, if your power level was 5 million, you would still have a chance of beating them if you're good. So that's one of the things I don't like about the game. And then I also don't like how there's all these characters, all these cool, unique characters in the game, and you can't play as them. Which obviously the final Power Level Warrior is, correcting upon that, but that's something I really didn't like about the game, and I don't understand why BOOLit didn't put it in. I'm not upset about him for it, because again, the final Power Level Warrior has them, but I don't know, I felt like I would have put it way above Power Level Warrior 1 if you were able to play as these other characters. And the other thing I didn't like about it was the quests and the way those worked. I mean, I did like it, but I feel like with sagas and everything that the final Power Level Warrior put in, and the way that that was similar to Power Level Warrior 1, I feel like that system is better. And I guess that's the best way to transition into Power Level Warrior 1, is to talk about that. So our number 2 spot is Power Level Warrior 1. Like I just said, the saga system was great because it allows you to remember those specific quests and go back to them. Yes, Power Level Warrior 2 had a saga system as well, but there were a lot of quests that were kind of, I don't know, I can't go back to them and replay them and say, "Hey, this is actually, really really fun." Aside from obviously Endless Sagas and Power Level Warrior 2, but in Power Level Warrior 1, I could play almost any mission on any level, on any saga, and I will be willing to replay it because it's that awesome. I mean, if you go to the end one on most of the sagas, you fight Mirror, and it's just incredible. I also liked how the stat system worked. The way that you just straight up, once you level up, you put that stat towards one of the 180 total stats. And as those increase, your power level increases, your speed increases, and all that. And I just thought that system worked really well for the game at the time. And Power Level Warrior 1 was also the reason why I put it above 2 is because it was innovative. Power Level Warrior 2 was a sequel, so obviously it's going to have a lot of the same stuff, but it didn't really innovate too much. I mean, like I said, the customization, in my opinion, is better, but the stat building and all that is way better in Power Level Warrior 1. And the way things worked, and like I said, the game is more fair when it comes to the power level warrior, or the power level balancing when it comes to damage and all that. And Risotto is always a fun character to use. Yes, he was the only playable character in the game. However, somehow he still felt more unique. I mean, the fact that you can go to 7 transformations in one tier, you just charge up and you immediately transform, and you can stay at whatever level you want to. But even at that, it's not as good as our number 1 spot. But before we go to our number 1 spot, here's the honorable mention. Our honorable mention is Power Level Warrior 0. And here is why it is on this list. And at the same time, not on this list. You could argue, hey, Base Brawler, why don't you put this above Tap Trainer? Well, here's the answer. It's an unfinished game. Okay? It's an unfinished game, and it's not necessarily fair to compare an unfinished game to a finished game. I mean, yes, technically you could argue it's somewhat finished and it's somewhat better than Tap Trainer, but I don't know. I'm just not going to count it because it's not a finished game. It has, in my opinion, it's better than everything on the list so far in terms of combat. I know some people say the animations don't look too good. I honestly like them, believe it or not. I honestly like the way that the animations work, how it's like, frame skips. And even with the frame skip, it's less clunky than Power Level Warrior 2. I almost said 1, 2. The stat building is similar to Power Level Warrior 1, which is awesome. You don't have to worry about transformations too much because your characters are balanced really well. You can switch characters in-game. What more could you ask for with this game? I am so disappointed that this game is both A, not out yet, or B, possibly may never even come out for everyone. I mean, yes, I'll always have the beta or the alpha to play, but I really think that if BOOLit even released the alpha for everyone, that this app would be like get 1 million downloads within 6 months. This game is awesome. I mean, all you'd have to do is make a little bit more quests, or what you could do is you could even use the same characters, just make them stronger. Use the same characters and the same levels, just make them stronger. Or even, again, put up like a ranking system similar to the final Power Level Warrior. And this game would top charts. It would top charts. And it's already pretty much made. So, I honestly am really disappointed that this game isn't out yet. But if it were, this game would probably be our number 2 spot. But none of these games are even half as good as our number 1 spot, which is obviously, I don't even have to say the name of the game. I don't even have to say the name of it. You have Sagas. You have Ranking, which was introduced in 2, but Ranking in the final Power Level Warrior is more perfected. I'm just going to call it TF Power Level Warrior, okay, from now on. Let's see. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Let me start with the negatives. Here's the only negative. the amount of grinding you have to do. That's it. Everything else about this game is damn near perfect. You have 4 characters that are inspired off of Dragon Ball Z characters. You have the ability to play as 19 different characters who all have at least 10 transformations. All their transformations are unique. Not one transformation is the same as the other. I mean, yes, you could argue Sage form, but even then, the key on each character looks a little bit different. Actually, Super Saiyan, or I apologize, Super Yasin. Super Yasin maybe has a little bit of a different key, or the same key and all that, as Vegetable and Carrot, and Sarada and Corn. Um, the fact that you get to play as 4 Yasins, or Saiyan-like characters, that's awesome. The art style is amazing. The stages are awesome. There's like a bunch of different stages. The music. I forgot to mention the music in the other games too. But this game has the music from all the other games. What more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? You have a character that can use a sword or not use a sword. In game, you can swap that ability out. I mean, obviously, his sword is his strongest power, but you can choose not to use his sword. A lot of the characters have different combos and everything, and they feel unique with their transformations. And there's male, female, there's Frieza race, all that. It is a killer game. And the player abilities, like all the key blasts and everything for each character, are also very unique. And the way those work, it's very smooth. You just move and then press the key blast button, and he shoots a key blast, a big one. And then if you just tap the button, shoot a small one. And you can teleport. After you attack your opponent, you can teleport. What more could you ask for in this game? But anyway, I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try to be doing more top 5s and top 10s. Probably top 10s from now on. It's just since we're talking about the main games, I decided to do a top 5. I was going to do a top 5 for the stages, but I figure a top 10 would be better because there's more than 10. And yeah, but anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one, whenever that may be. Have a nice day if you aren't already having a nice day already. And I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that may be. Have a nice day. Don't you be a meanie, thought you wanted me to go out while you're trying to keep me teeny,